When it comes to hiring people, I used to do all the interviews,
Mhm.
right? Then I brought on somebody that really knew how to do interviews and filter for like quality people. My mind was blown. I was like, all right, like now we're bringing in better people for our operators, and my life gets better because that's not something that was ever my strong suit. Like business got more fun for me. I agree with that entirely.
Having a blast, gonna get it on the Bruce Lee podcast. Bruce Lee like Bruce Lee, cause it's so hard and the T is loose leaf. Making up those rhymes, don't write it, just do it loosely. If you want my respect, you better put direct. Here are the words in the podcast, that's what comes next. Hi, and welcome back to the Boostly podcast. This is the podcast that gives hosts the tools, the tactics, the training, and most importantly, the confidence to get more direct bookings. On this podcast, we don't just talk about direct bookings. We love to have it as a question, but we also like to dive into anything hospitality. And we do a mini series called the Boostly Spotlight series, where we shine the Boostly spotlight on people, services, and people that you just need to know about as a host wherever you are in the world. And today we've got a special guest. We've got Matt Metros. He is the founder of a company called CS Outsource. Is that right?
Yep, you got it perfect.
Perfect. And we're basically diving into just a conversation all about overseas staff, hospitality. We don't know where the conversation can go, but I really enjoyed. We've recently had Matt on for another show within our Boostly community, and we could have filled much more time. So we thought, you know what, it would be cool. Let's do a podcast. Let's jump on here and give our listeners loads of value. So Matt, welcome along, and thank you for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to introduce myself, my name is Matthew Metros. I help short-term rental and mid-term rental operators outsource and build virtual assistant teams. So the way we got started in the business was helping out with the guest communications, vendor communications, scheduling vendors, disputing negative reviews, helping with the turnovers and cleaning process, ordering inventory and supplies, helping with Airbnb claims as they come in, listing optimizations. When a new listing comes in, you need to get a photographer, you need to find a new cleaner, a whole new handyman, all that sort of stuff. So that's where we got started in the business. And then over time, operators started asking for things like digital marketing. So email and SMS campaigns to retarget past guests, graphic design, social media posting. Then they started asking for things like bookkeeping. So sending out those owner statements on time, setting up a trust accounting process, reconciling the accounts, remitting the local lodging taxes. And then we also do appointment setting and business development. So we're fully end-to-end outsourcing and virtual assistant service for STR operators.
What do you want somebody to take away from this episode? So if they listen to this, what is the kind of feel or the kind of experience that you want them to take away from listening to this podcast?
Yeah, I would say, the struggles and challenges of hiring, training, managing, retaining, and compensating VAs. I know a lot of people think you can just go to online jobs PH and set up, put out a job description, and lo and behold, you have an awesome VA. It doesn't end there. VAs come and go. Training them takes a lot of time. You have to be very meticulous about that. Managing them, you're almost like a part-time psychologist. If they break up with their girlfriend or boyfriend, like, that's going to have an impact on your business. And, retaining them for the long term. Get creative with how you compensate, performance-based pay, deferred pay. There's all sorts of things you can do. But the reality is VAs come and go. When you bring somebody on, you're now a manager, you're now doing HR, you're training them. So, be prepared for that sort of stuff. And you have to prepare ahead of time.
With most hosts, what would you say the normal journey is? So do most hosts that you talk to, are they getting a virtual assistant literally when they start their business? Are they getting it when they've got 10 places? Or when do you find is the moment for most hosts where they go, do you know what? I need some help.
Yeah, so it's a gray area for sure. I was just on the phone with somebody, and they are locked in. They quit their W-2. They're at 6 properties, and they rely on this for their income. So I said, probably don't do this right now. get to a place where you feel like you need 1.5 people. Um, you know, but it's going to vary based on your business goals. If you have a full-time job, maybe get started a little sooner. But if you're all in, maybe you want more properties on your belt so that it's not financially stressful on you. My rule of thumb is for really any recurring expense that you're about to take on in your business, like a virtual assistant,
Mhm.
you let's say it costs 1,500 for somebody 40, 50 hours, right? I want to have a plan on how I'm going to get that 1,500 in my business, right? To cover those expenses. So what I encourage people to do is, start doing business development, marketing, bringing on more properties, at least get, 30 to 50% of the way there before that person comes on, so that when they come on, you're not feeling that pinch, right? You've already like built up the momentum of building in that new revenue for the business. So that's always my rule of thumb, to make sure that operators are comfortable and they're not bringing in a VA into what could turn into a toxic situation, because financially it's a struggle for them. When it comes to hiring people, I used to do all the interviews, right? Then I brought on somebody that really knew how to do interviews and filter for like quality people. My mind was blown. I was like, all right, like now we're bringing in better people for our operators, and my life gets better, because that's not something that was ever my strong suit. Like, business got more fun for me. I agree with that entirely. Change your life, really.
It really does, because as soon as they're in their area of expertise and you're able to go, well, what's my area of excellence or expertise? Go and do more of that, and get the people who want to do the other stuff in those kind of roles. And it is just really good. But for hosts listening to this, should they just hire out the tasks they don't want to do? Or what is your advice around actually choosing the tasks for them and the responsibilities that they really should be outsourcing?
For me, there's a delicate balance between, like, I'm always thinking about, my rule of thumb is like, what is the customer impact? If it's like very sensitive, that's typically something I will keep to myself. If it's like a super high value task, that's also something I keep in-house. And for me, that's generally something around sales and business development. Like, that's just something you really can't outsource. The way you speak, the way you talk on topics. In 2024, your personality, like who you are on the internet, is a lot of your company's brand.
Yeah.
Personal branding is huge. So that's stuff I do not delegate. But the bottom line is, you have to look at your business and see, like, how risky is this? What is going to be the client impact if something does go wrong? And there's like hybrid models, right? Some people, they come to us and they want to do digital marketing, but they have rules around how we outsource with them. They want to approve the messaging before it goes out. They want to see all the designs. They have so much brand control. But when it comes to the tactical execution of graphic design, of the copywriting, that's on us. But at the end of the day, they have guardrails in place to prevent us from just sending. So there's hybrid models, there's fully outsourced models where you just like your accountant. Some of us, we just take the Excel sheet, give it to your accountant, and they handle the rest of it. But yeah, you have to really look at your business and see, like, how risky is this, and look at your brand. Like, does it call for being outsourced? Does it call for, like, I really need to own this in-house?
There's so many things that you can outsource as a host, like you say, the bookkeeping, the guest comms, the operations of managing your cleaners, daily messages, all of that sort of stuff is really cool. But there's also that time where perhaps with the new world, and I know I've asked you this when we saw you the other day, but with the new world, there's a lot of AI out there, right? So do I really need to hire a virtual assistant, or can AI just replace that need for that person? Should virtual assistants be worried?
Yeah, yeah. This is the way I think about it. You could talk to, an AI expert, they'll have a whole different opinion on the world. I think right now in the near term, and I'm just talking about the near term, I don't know, 5 years from now, like I might even turn into AI at that point. Who knows what's gonna happen? But in the near term, for sure, I think some of the low level tedious tasks, like, basic guest communications, AI is going to play a significant role in that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, answering the phones, adding that human touch, I don't think we're there yet. And you're still going to need a virtual assistant to do things like that. Also, a lot of the tools we use are very fragmented, right? Like your cleaners on WhatsApp, or maybe you're communicating with a vendor over email, and the chats are coming in through, your PMS. You're still going to need someone that's going to be able to connect all the dots there
Mhm.
and make sure that messages get through at the right time, at the right speed, um, with the correct undertones, all that sort of stuff. So my rule of thumb here, or how I think about it, is one agent is going to be able to do more. You'll be able to have more properties under one agent, right? Right now, generally, what I see is one agent can oversee around 20 to 30, 35. Some, obviously depends on what is the scope of their task. If they're just doing guest comms, it's going to be on the upper hand there. But, with AI, who knows? Maybe that goes to 40, or,
Mhm.
so it's like the perfect match made in heaven.
Yeah.
You have humans working with a tool that just makes them smarter. And also, what I like about AI is a lot of the times I'm always finding, that I have to like check on people. Did they do this? Did they do that? And where I think AI is going to like really be able to step in is it's going to provide that level of oversight. Like, hey, no, you missed this. Like, you need to
Mhm.
check on this, because it does have that brain power to do it. So, it'll be able to provide some supervision and just overall make, one agent that much better in your business, that much more productive, effective, etc.
Matt, this has been really fun. Thank you so much for coming on the Boostly podcast and spending your time freely with us and our listeners. For you listening to this, if you've picked up just one piece of information that you think another host or a friend would be able to get some value of, please share this podcast with that other host. And Matt, that leaves us with the final question we love to end on, which is there a mantra or a motto that has resonated with you during your time in business?
I have a lot of these. But one that really, I hold true to my heart is, give away all your secrets, and you'll have everything in life. And what I really mean by that is, in business, it's very easy to get like cagey around what you know and how you operate, how you do things. And the way I've grown my business is just being super transparent about everything with my employees, with the community, just, giving as much free education and knowledge on how I'm doing things. I'm an open book. And what I've found is, like, one, I have the respect of, my employees, because I'm very open book about everything. I'm attracting the right customers that
Mhm.
really value knowledge and education. These are really professional operators. Um, and you know, I I don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't have that mindset to just give as much value everywhere, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Take every phone call, give everybody the time of day. Just be like the nicest person. You'll be happier. Like, people are gonna like it. All this stuff is like a snowball effect, and it comes back to you in weird ways in the future.
That
So
resonates
yeah.
with me. That definitely resonates with me, especially because at the end of the day, especially what you just said at the end there, where you actually get more from it than people are going, hey, why are you giving all this away? You actually, well, this is for me. I actually get more from doing this. And the world does give it back in droves, doesn't it? So what a very
Hmm.
cool sentiment to to end on. Thank you so much again, Matt. And thank you too for listening to this on the Boostly podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Cheers, Liam.
Having a blast, gonna get it on the Boostly podcast. Boostly like Bruce Lee, cause it's so hard and the T is loose leaf. Making up those rhymes, don't write it, just do it loosely.